start this. We've been having this conversation with Ayman and everybody else at the FPC for almost 6 months now. So really happy that we are all here together. We are kicking start this entire thing. Um, I don't think I need to explain to anybody over here how important is AI. No matter what business we are, no matter what we do, no matter which part of the world we are living in. All of us are already either consumers of AI or in some cases, and I'll be happy to know in case we are also, developers of AI, because that is where all of us need to go if we want to make sure that we are living in a world which is using technology in the most responsible way, but also in a way which is beneficial to all of us, both in the social way and, of course, in the commercial way as well. So this program that we are all part of here, AI for current workforce, which we call it as Intel, it's one of the, um, and Arihant, you can add, I think we keep adding programs. I will stick to the original six at this moment of time, but you can always talk about the others. But we have these six different programs, which are each for a different audience. We start with the schools, we go on to the higher education, then we move on to the entire country, the citizens all across the countries. We work with government leaders, and one of the things which we thought was very important is the current workforce. So yeah, this is the portfolio that we have. We start with the AI for citizens, which is for anyone and everyone who wants to know about AI. This is currently running in Singapore and in India, in Malaysia as of now. And I'm assuming that you guys would have gone through the AI Untu Prakyat. This was launched in January, and within, I think, 4 to 5 months, we've had 1 million citizens who have been part of it. So I request each one of you, if you haven't gone through it, please do go. Please show us your digital badges before the end of this workshop. We'll be very, very happy because a lot of work has gone, and not from our side only, but a couple of different government agencies from Malaysia. So please, if you haven't yet done it, please go ahead and do it. And I would request, Arihant, maybe you can share the link, or Diti, you can share the link with everybody over here as well. Then we have a program for, as I said, for higher education, which is future workforce, and for school education, which is AI for youth. We've been running AI for youth in Malaysia as well, with school education, with the department. And then future workforce is something that we're working on again in a couple of different countries, and we're looking at it in Malaysia as well. We have the digital readiness for leaders, which is for government leaders. We've been working very closely with a lot of different government departments all across. We've done some sessions of this in Malaysia as well. And then we have the AI Global Impact Festival, which is like a culmination of all the work that we do, which means everyone who's been part of any of our programs can come and showcase, can talk about what they've gone through it, and also compete. So we have students competing right now. We're in that phase where we have students from almost, I would say, about 20 plus countries who are going to compete and who are going to be showcasing their best projects at the global festival. And we do have six projects from Malaysia who have just been added to the mix. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that we're going to get some winners from Malaysia as well. So this is in a nutshell that we have a program, and current workforce, the program that we are all here for, is for people like all of us. We've been working for, let's say, a couple of years or maybe a little more years, but there's a need to upskill. There's always a need to upskill. Of course, one is for our career growth, one is for our professional growth, but at the same time, if we want to stay relevant, this is something which is very important. So for the next 3 days, the idea is how we can share what has been happening across the world with some examples, very specific sector examples. And of course, we talk about AI, we talk about how it is being used, what it is in a very nutshell, and how this can become a kind of a tool. It can become a kind of a means to an end, which is a world, which is a globe which is more responsible, more inclusive, more sustainable, and all of us, each one of us, can actually contribute to it. So Arihant is here and Diti is here. They will be taking you through the entire content. They'll be sharing a lot of interesting examples, a lot of things that would help you to create what you want to do at the ground. And again, it doesn't matter which particular sector that is. So the idea is, let's work together. Maybe you may have some interesting examples that you can even share, which would actually be good for us also to include into this content, because we've been doing this program in a lot of countries. And every country, just like every sector, has a different way of dealing with a certain situation, I would say. But that's where we all come together. That's why we say we have these global programs, so that each country can learn, can get to know. Maybe there's something which has already been done, let's say in Singapore or maybe in Indonesia. which may work very well with you. For example, I remember that there was a very specific example from Malaysia from the way uh, blockchain was being used for the customs in Malaysia. And as Intel, we were supporting that particular process. And that is something which was shared with the Indian government here. And then they picked up a couple of things from here. So a lot of cross learning keeps happening through programs like this. So if you have any interesting thing that you think would add more value, not just to Malaysia, but to any other country or any other sector in any country, please do feel free to share. Arihant over here is an expert at all of this. So he'll be taking you through the content along with Ditty. So please make the most of it. And let's hope that by the end of this 3 days, we would all be a little more, uh, I can say, knowledgeable, a little more informed, a little more aware, and a little more charged up to do something more than what we are already doing. So with that, I'll stop here and I'll back to you, Arihant. Let's get started. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll just ask Eamon to, of course, share a few words before we start, and thank you for NPC for, helping us get all of you in this session over here together. So yeah, Eamon, over to you.
Okay, thank you Arihan and thank you Saloni. So Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani, salam sayangi Malaysia. I put all the Malaysian ingredient in the greetings. So welcome to, we call this actually under MPC, we call this AI for productivity. We have a few programs where we collaborate with Intel and few other companies on how we would like to deploy AI adoption in Malaysia. So for your information, if you never know about MPC, which actually we are Malaysia Productivity Corporation. We are an agency under MITI, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. So our role is to drive productivity at the macro, sectoral and enterprise level. So just to share with you a little bit on productivity. So at the macro level, how we measure productivity is GDP over employment. The higher GDP over employment, so the more productive we are. But at the enterprise level, I think we should look at different way how we can improve business productivity. So it's either we improve the sales, reduce costs, reduce processes, reduce manual processes, where I believe AI can be a great hubs for us to do that. So that's why we have this program. And then of course, for this program, actually, we would like to target the digital solution providers and also those individuals or organizations that can help other businesses to adopt AI. So because, and then of course, align with Intel's digital readiness program on AI for current workforce. So on top of upskilling and reskilling, we are looking at how we can help you guys to help others to adopt AI. So of course, from MPC point of view, we are looking on how we can develop POCs because we are targeting to develop productivity model company. So which shows excellent practice in processes, people and technology. So I believe AI can be a part in technology element. So we can start by developing POCs, proof of concepts that adopt AI across sectors, agriculture, manufacturing and services. So I believe these 3 days is just the starting, and then I think we will have more program, and then I'm looking forward for collaboration with all the participants here. And then especially you guys are one of the digital solution providers listed under MPC, and also I think some of you get the information from our partners such as Picom and also My Digital. So let's have a productive session ahead. So I will pass back to Arihan.
Thank you so much, Eamon, for sharing the context. And I think we'll jump straight into the program right now. We've been talking a lot about it. So the program AI for Current Workforce, the major objective we have is to build capacity in the current workforce. That is all of us who are already a part of the workforce to make, lifelong impact. So there are three main goals over here. One is to, of course, gain the technical confidence for working with AI, just not being a consumer of AI, but also a responsible user and a power user of using AI tools for productivity, as Eman previously mentioned as well. And the idea is that after the end of the session, you will have basic foundational knowledge to get started on your journey towards building the POC. Of course, this is just a 3 session train the trainer program. So I wouldn't say that, at the end of this 3 sessions itself, you'll be able to make a POC directly. It will involve some amount of effort and work on your part also in terms of self study. But the idea is that we will provide a solid foundation for you to get started on. And the eventual hope is that each of you will be able to, of course, build POCs, prototype solutions within your organizations and with your teams. So with that, I'll get started and just walk you through the high level overview of the program. And at any point in time, we want to make this session very interactive. So feel free to raise your hands. If you have any questions, you can interrupt in between. You can also use the chat if you want to share any thoughts, comments, and ideas. And of course, like Saloni also previously mentioned, we'd love to learn from you as well. This program is, and most of our digital readiness programs, right, is all about learning what you are also doing on the ground because this is a truly global program and we are running it in different countries. And with each country, we learn new things about this as well. So, as much as you are excited to learn from us, reverse is also true. So, yeah. So, just to give you an idea on how the program has been designed, what is the pedagogy we are using it. Over here, because this is adult learning focused, we are focusing more on andragogical principles, where emphasis is led on self-directed learning. And all of the topics which we cover over here, the intent has been to link it to business outcomes or employability and employment. And ultimately, what we are trying to focus on in this program is how you can use AI at an individual level for productivity, and also how you can use specific project management principles, which will help you to work better with AI tools or with developer teams or IT teams. So let me just be very clear at the start that the idea or the intent for this program is not to turn you into a developer at the end of the 3 sessions. This is more about understanding and gaining foundational knowledge, which will help you in navigating or building business related, projects to kind of, take the POC forward for your organization. I'd make just a small request that in case none of you are sharing anything right now, I would like you to please mute yourselves because I think sometimes it can be a bit problematic for the other participants. Yeah. Thank you. So essentially, we have 3 levels within the AI for Current Purpose program. In these 3 sessions, till Thursday, we will be focusing on level 100 itself. But we have level 200 and 300 also within this program, which are focused on slightly more advanced concepts. And maybe towards the end of the session, we can figure out how the pathway for that could also be discussed. But for now, I'll just give you a brief idea on how the modules in the program is organized. So you can see level 100 is focusing on 3 main topics: AI and business, use of no-code tools for AI and business, and also on data visualization and project proposal. How do you create AI business project proposals, right? And then level 200 is focusing, it goes slightly more into the technical domains where the participants will be briefly introduced to the 3 different domains we have. And out of those 3 domains, they can probably choose any one which they want to go ahead with. And finally, the producer level is about understanding how AI powered ventures can be built, how you can, generate ideas for this, how you can listen to prospective customers, how business model testing and generation can be done, and finally, how can you go about pitching. So, just to also set context over here, this is the actual program content itself, which you as the lead trainers are expected to deliver within your organization or within other teams that way. For the train the trainer agenda, the main thing is we'll be focusing on providing an orientation and overview to the content. And the idea is that after that orientation and overview, you can take a look at the content itself. And of course, if you have any questions, you can come back to us in the next session or in the same session. But our intent for these training sessions is not to teach you each and every single thing because as you can see over here, right, this is a total 64-hour learning program and we don't have that many sessions to cover this. But the intent is that we'll be giving you enough in terms of the orientation and the key activities so that you can take a look at the content yourself later on. And also, what we've done is we've made certain customizations based on the request and the survey we had asked you to fill earlier to include certain examples from tourism, for example, from manufacturing, so that the content is more relevant for you. You may not find that within the content itself, but we'll share those decks with you separately if you want to take a look. So yes, this is in terms of the two major skill components which we are going to cover. So the program focuses on tech skills as well as AI project management skills, which you can look over here. And ultimately, the expected program output and outcomes are basically at two levels. Output is something which we are defining as at the end of the session itself, and outcome is something once the learners have gone through the program content and they have started, applying it within their organizations, what kind of long-term outcomes they can expect. So, in terms of level 100, which we'll be covering in these three sessions, our idea is that, of course, at the end of it, you'll be able to build your own AI project proposal. And the expected outcome is that maybe you will be able to table it and share it within your organizations also. A real world project proposal, which is relevant for your organization, could be done at the end of 3 months by yourself after going through this content. For level 200, the focus is on building POCs, proof of concepts, or AI solution prototypes. And for 300, it is about building a pitch deck. So, yeah, moving on. This is what we offer in terms of the certification. More on this will be covered on later. And yes, with this, I'll hand it over to Diti to get started with a brief overview of level 1.
Thanks, Arihant. I think before we start, we can take a picture also with everyone here. Uh, yeah, so I would request everyone to turn on your camera. Thank you so much. One more. Thank you all. Yeah, I think we can get started now. I'm Diti and I'll be taking you through the overview of the content. Let me share my screen. Just give me a second. If for some reason I'm not able to share my window, so I'll just share my entire screen.
Priti, do you need my help? I can share the screen instead.
I think I'll share. It's fine. Yeah, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, so we are actually going to start this level 100 today. So level 100, the purpose for level 100 is basically, having the ability to, identify which are the opportunities for your own current workforce, and then apply low code, no code tools, for adapting to that particular, AI in business for your own current workforce. So throughout this particular content, when we will be going through several, different slides, um, I would encourage you to also think in terms of what opportunity do you see in your own current workforce, so that you can probably take some inspiration and maybe try to connect dots and think of ways in which AI can be a solution for your workforce. So we can also look at it, with the lens that it can either be, for your workforce, for your any job functionality that you're currently involved in, or for improving your productivity itself. Um, so in this particular have 5 modules. So the first module is AI in business. So in this particular module, we mostly go through, fundamental topics, because we have built this program for non-tech audience. So we have also covered topics, which will help differentiate what is AI and what is not AI, identify different business use cases for AI, and we've given several examples which helps increase relatability with the content. And also, we are going to discuss the different steps involved in building an AI project. And again, everything in the content you would see that it's scenario based, and also there are several examples to help increase relatability with the content. We've used some real world examples, some use cases which will help you also relate and map with your own workforce scenario. So yeah, you can see that in this particular slide, we are discussing what is AI. But this particular slide is very illustrative. You can see that the entire AI, task and functioning, from data processing to different AI techniques have been covered here. So you will see that, data pre-processing steps are involved here, cleaning, normalizing, and then you are going to use that data for building the model. So machine learning and deep learning are actually subsets of AI. So these are some techniques involved in machine learning and deep learning. You can also use some analytics on the data that you have. And there are other techniques down. So this actually gives like a very illustrative outline of the entire AI life cycle. Then there are applications, examples of applications which have been put here, like language translation, or for speech to text conversion. So these are some applications of AI, popular ones, recommender systems for data generation, ultimately culminating into different data insights and business insights that you can gather from AI. So it can be business oriented, operational, security improvement, and things like that. So this is just an illustrative slide to demonstrate the functionalities and techniques related to AI. Yes, in this particular content, as I said, right, like we are starting with very fundamental level of understanding of what AI is and what AI is not. So there are some common misconceptions around AI also. So AI is not a robot, which can displace or take your job. So there is uh, actually a very big misconception around people that they think that AI can actually displace or take away jobs. But AI is more towards augmenting your own capabilities. So it is actually to AI can actually augment your capabilities, and it can actually help you to do some tasks, do some repetitive tasks basically, so that you can put in your energy and your efforts in doing some complex tasks. Another point that you see is AI is not a magic box that can solve all your problems, right? So AI is, for actually deploying AI in your workforce or any solution, you actually need good data. You need proper planning, as in, what exactly do you want your AI system to do? You also need a proper implementation plan for your solution building process itself. So if only every place you will be able to actually come up with like a good solution for your business problem that you're looking to solve. So we can actually look at AI as a part of solution and not solution itself. So I think if we think on those lines, it clears our understanding for what AI is. And the third part, AI cannot emulate complexity of human thinking. So that's very true, right? So as I said, the first point itself, as in AI is more towards augmenting your capabilities and helping, or it acts as an aid for doing repetitive tasks and things like that. It can help you in various different tasks, and it can also help you in decision making in certain business problems and giving you some better business insights and things like that, but your judgment will be paramount. So yeah. Yeah, another very important thing, right, in related to AI in business is mostly with respect to AI can be, so you can see here there are two categories. One is moonshot projects and the other one is low hanging fruit projects. Probably you would have already heard of such terms, in your conversations. What it actually means is basically trying to categorize, projects in terms of what is your expectations from that particular solution. So it actually helps you have that expectation set from your project. Moonshot projects are basically very ambitious projects, in projects which and it is also very high risk. So basically, if I have to give you an example, maybe you can think of these large organizations who are investing for general artificial intelligence or autonomous vehicles. So these are very ambitious projects, and the timeline is also long term, and investment is also large, and also the outcome is uncertain. So it can be groundbreaking, but there are the risk involved is more, and also the commitment towards having a project like this, or building a project like this, is actually quite time consuming, and there's a lot of efforts that you need for projects like that. And the second category that you see is the low hanging fruit projects. So basically these projects are projects which are actually more suitable for smaller organizations, and projects which actually we can think of as in any maybe think of maintenance, predictive maintenance project for your workforce, in your company setting and things like that, or maybe chatbot for your company website. So these are some projects which are like the probability of failure is less in these kind of projects, and also you can have like better you will be at a better place to understand and identify that these are the requirements that you need to have. Say for example, what are the tools that you will require. So it's actually easy, and also the as I said, with respect to or compared to moonshot projects, this is more executable and doable. So these are the kind of projects probably we can look at when we are looking at identifying solutions for our own business or workforce. Yeah, so as I said, throughout the content, there are these examples which have been given to help, understand or, create more relatability so that you can also maybe identify similar kind of um, business use cases for your own company or business. So the first one is automating business processes. So as we discussed earlier also, so AI actually is very good at handling repetitive tasks. So you can actually, build an AI solution which can do that for your workflow. So an example which is given here is automated email responses to customer queries on frequently asked questions. So you can identify a list of frequently asked questions, and you can also curate responses. AI can curate responses according to the questions which have been posed, and those answers will also be consistent throughout. So when it is with customer when there are people involved in customer operations or handling customer queries, there can be a chance of people giving different kind of answers to different people. So we can actually avoid that kind of situation also by automating such kind of business workflows. So AI is actually a very good tool for such kind of business processes and workflows. The second thing is again analyzing data. uh, we can analyze data and things like that, but then when we are dealing with large amount of data to be analyzed, AI does a better job with respect to analyzing thousands and thousands of data in just very uh, few amount of time, and then it can actually come up with very good results with respect to getting insights from the data, on making good business decisions, and it can actually also give you some good trends to identify patterns and trends in the business. So this is also one of the use case that probably you can think of, if you can probably identify and map it to something similar in your own company or business. The third one is again with respect to engaging with customers. So you can have like a chatbot perform simple transactions, like maybe giving responses for balance inquiries or annual fee waiver and things like that. So simple transactions can also be taken care of by AI workflows. So these are some easy examples which probably you can relate to in your own business workflows and try to replicate it in your setting. Yeah, here we are actually discussing like a four-step framework which can help evaluate the business benefits for of AI. So in this particular thing, we have like four steps. First is you understanding the technology itself, as in you need to know what tool will be better, or um, what tool or which technique will actually give you a better result, or which model or which process will actually apply in a setting that you are looking for. So understanding the technology itself is very important, so that would be your first step. Second step would be mostly with respect to evaluating needs. So with what is the current so this particular step is actually a little it needs a little bit of time. So you need to also evaluate the different departments who will be actually involved in the business that you are looking for, or the workflow that you are trying to build. You'll have to see who are the stakeholders, what are the different department processes, how are they linked to, and how is it changing for them. So all of those business needs need to be inquired and evaluated before you build a, AI model or solutioning for your business problem. Then after you have all of those business needs and requirements evaluated from all the departments who are actually connected to the business, then you can actually come to this particular stage wherein you are actually launching a pilot with limited like whatever limited examples, and then you can see how it is performing. And if you think this particular performance that it is giving is a good enough result, you can actually try to then use or redesign the business processes, accounting or banking on the results that you have received from the pilots, you can try to scale it more and redesign business processes. So in this particular scenario, or the fourth step, it's actually very important that you also, discuss, with everyone, as in the stakeholders, because you also need to tell them that the process is changing in whatever different ways, because you are going to use AI for setting up the workflow and things like that. That does not mean that the person who was earlier involved in, will be losing the job or things like that. So that kind of, conversation should also come in before you redesign the business processes. So we actually have like a example here that we can probably discuss, but maybe after discussing this, you can maybe, share your, if you are thinking of any example at your own, for your own workflow or setting, or if there is any problem that you already have in your mind, probably you can share it, and then maybe we can try to fit that in the 4-step framework, and you can share your understanding of this particular framework and how you plan to use it. Yeah, so we've taken like a very simple example here. So as I said, the content, you will see like a lot of content which is scenario based, so there will be examples, and based on that example, the entire framework or the processes will be explained. So here in this case, you can see that there is an example of Ricky, who is a shift supervisor at a biscuit factory, and he has noticed that different combinations of employees in a shift result in different yields. So he wonders if AI could suggest the ideal allocation of employees to improve the overall production yield. So he's just now deciding to use the 4-step framework. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, so as I said, the first step is understand the technology. So, these are the questions that you will have to ask yourself when you are actually in this particular step, right? So the first question that you may want to ask yourself is, which application of AI for business will I use? So in this particular case, since, Ricky thinks that different combination of employees will actually improve the yields. So he's actually decided that he'll be using a machine learning approach, and he'll be using a classification problem, because he has to classify the different employees, right? And employee types, and then create a schedule which has, different employee types in one shift. So the second question is, can I do it myself or within my organization? So he's very confident in, identifying that he can do it himself. And what vendor will I engage? So again, he has taken the decision for himself that he'll be using or going with a no-code platform. So we do have in AI, there are different kind of approach that you can use, right? There is low code approach, there is no code approach, which has, basically no code approach is when you don't have to code anything. There are these inbuilt blocks which you can directly use, or it's actually like a drag and drop interface kind of applications that you can use, where you just have to drag and drop or use the right fit icons, to make your solution work. You don't have to write like a single line of code. So those kind of platforms are called as no code platforms. So he has decided that he'll be going with a no code platform. The second, stage, or the second step in this particular framework, is evaluating needs. So the questions which are related to this particular step are, what task would benefit the most from AI adoption? Do I have the data necessary for my use case? How would I collect and organize the data necessary for my use case? And how can these projects transform my work? So these are the different, kind of questions that you can ask yourself when you are at this stage. So you can see that this particular framework, we've also given like a step-by-step guide, which you can actually use as it is for your own business problem, and you can try to answer them, which helps you understand what are the actual requirements and needs related to that particular business problem that you have identified for yourself. So you can see that we've given like sample, answers for each of these questions, which helps us understand or gives a better understanding to how we can actually use this template for our own business problem. So the first question is, what task would benefit the most from AI adoption? So basically, he's trying to improve the yield. Do I have the data necessary for my use case? So he is confident that the data is available within the company itself. How would I collect and organize the data necessary? So he'll store time sheets, the shift allocation, scheduling sheets, yield quality data in one location in the network. How can these projects transform my work? So basically, this can actually save a lot of manual work for him. So this process, like if he actually takes AI solution, it will save a lot of time for him, which usually he puts in manual planning and data entry. So this is actually going to help his productivity and also improve the business process. Then for pilot launch, which is the third step, there are some again questions given, which you can actually go through and use this template for your own, business problem that you want to build the solution for. Does the use of AI really have a business benefit or transform my work? So you also need to assess whether this particular problem is, good to solve or not. Like, how beneficial is it, like how beneficial will it be for you if you have a solution for a problem that you have identified? Will AI be more reliable than my current workflow? So these are also some questions that you'll have to maybe think of or discuss on with your own department. Yeah. Can this AI solution inspire further adoption of AI? So if pilot does well, then company will be more interested in AI adoption for other business processes, like maybe packaging or other department, which needs or which can actually have an AI adoption. Then the last stage, which is again redesign the business process. So there are questions, you can see what sort of changes within the organization would AI affect, as I said, right? Like in this particular stage, you also need to think about whether there is a mindset change in the employees working in the factory, whether are you like actually making them fearful of the new business processes that you are incorporating and things like that. So these are also some kind of discussion pointers for you to actually think on before you adopt or try to integrate AI into your business solutions. Yeah, so here is an exercise where basically wherein you can think of a business use case of AI within your own industry or company, and then probably try to apply this framework. So as of now, right, you need not think of how feasible your business problem is, or how this AI solution is actually going to be incorporated or integrated in your workflow, but at least this gives you like a starting point on deciding or identifying what could be probably solved using AI, and what are those areas. So probably I think I'll give you some time to think on it, and maybe you can put in your responses here in the chat. Yeah. So in this particular framework, right, we are actually, so I'm actually trying to respond to Mervin's question. Mervin, you've asked, the framework doesn't seem to take cost factors into consideration. So in this particular framework, we are mostly trying to discuss what the problem is, how is it, you're trying to evaluate the needs, you're trying to also understand the technology, and then, maybe trying to build a pilot around it. But there are other frameworks and also processes that we'll be discussing before you actually give or come up with a business proposal for incorporating AI. in the problem that you have identified, which actually takes care of the cost factors, the revenue streams as well. Yeah, sure. I'll share that slide again. So since I'm sharing my entire screen, I won't be able to see the chat. Um, so maybe you can also, unmute yourself if you have any questions.
Diti, so we have a question from Mervin. So he's
Yeah.
basically asking if, uh, we have covered the first two steps in the framework. In our actual slides, all the four steps are actually getting covered. Like we mentioned at the start, this entire three sessions, it's more to give you a overview of the content and examples we have. And we won't be able to cover each and everything till detail because, like I mentioned at the start, the program is actually a 64-hour program. So we'll give you a sample or a snippet at the start, and then of course you can go through the content at your own time later on as well. So I hope that helps in addressing the question. If all good, I think we can move ahead.
Yeah, I think probably this gave you some time to maybe think on what area you would want to identify, or what kind of problem probably you are thinking of, wherein you think AI can be integrated or could be of value. So maybe we can think on this even after the session, right? You can probably think on it, and maybe even for tomorrow's session or session after that, we can actually discuss whatever you are thinking of, and the possible implementation plans or strategies that you are probably thinking or thinking of building on. So let's continue. Yeah. So, okay. There's some noise. I just hope it's not from my end. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Aditi, I think one of the participants had left the mic or unmute, so I just muted it.
Okay.
I think
Okay. All
Fazar
right.
has a question.
If I
Fazar,
can
would you like to
request you
ask?
to,
Sorry, I misclicked. It's my mistake,
Oh,
but I'm not raising any hand. Thank you.
no problem. Thank you. As we discussed, we throughout the content you will see that there are several scenarios which are being used to explain or illustrate how certain frameworks can be used, or how these techniques or models can actually be implemented. So again, we are like, there is another scenario that mostly is actually used to demonstrate different processes and frameworks that we have actually used in the content. So one example is of Cheryl. So Cheryl is from customer service department of a bank, and she's someone who spends time with the customers. So what is the problem? So the problem is Cheryl works at a bank that wants to increase the long-term value of its customers. They've realized that it is more economical to retain the customers that they already have than finding new ones. Therefore, they are looking for methods to identify customers who are likely to leave. So this is the problem that they are facing at the bank. Now, what could be a potential solution, which is an AI based solution? So Cheryl checks if she has access to customer data from the bank. Could an AI solution help her figure out the contributing factors to why customers would leave? And can that information help devise a customer benefit plan to get them to stay? So, since Cheryl has this particular data with respect to customer profiles and things like that, she can actually, with the help of an AI model, she can actually figure out which are the contributing factors which is actually leading the customers to leave. So there could be many, contributing factors. One could be the customer service that they are providing. Probably it might not be like, a very quick to respond customer service, or maybe the benefits or the offers that they are providing would not be as good as the offers that they which the other banks are providing. So there can be multiple reasons, or the bank app that they are using is not very interactive or intuitive, so therefore the customers are leaving. So there could be many reasons behind why customers are leaving. So an AI solution can actually help classify or identify these customer demographics and help identify what are the factors also, or more prominent factors which are leading the customers to leave. We can also devise a customer. So using AI, you can also do customer segmentation, and you can see what benefit plans or incentive plans you can come up with to help them, or you can offer them these benefits and plans which will help them to stay. So these customer segmentation will help you decide a particular customer. They are more into shopping, so what kind of offers can you give them? If there are some customers who are probably using credit cards a lot, so some offers or some special deals on credit cards and things like that. So using these customer segmentation, which is again like one of the application of AI that you can actually use to integrate with this solution, you can actually build an AI solution. So these are some scenarios by which you can actually discuss and deliberate on, which can help you understand how to come up or how to decide what are the potential solutions an AI model or AI can bring about for a particular business problem that you have identified. So these were the kind of content that you see that we have in module 1. Now for module 2, we again are focusing on the problem itself. So you can see that in this particular module, the objectives which are stated are mostly with respect to understanding the problem statement, because that is a very critical step, right? Wherein you are trying to identify a problem, you are also trying to identify whether that problem is worth solving or not. What is the value proposition and things like that. So there are different methods, business strategies that you can employ to decide, what is to decide on your problem statement, or to decide or finalize on your problem statement itself. So there are these methods like 5 whys, or fishbone or decomposition methods, which are actually some business methods and strategies, well-known business methods and strategy, which will help you find the root cause of a problem, and which will help you in framing a suitable problem statement after all the analysis is being done. Then we are going to also, in this particular module, there is also introduction to no-code tools, and how AI project, or what are the different stages involved in building an AI project as well. So we'll look at these approaches one by one. So let's look at the first approach, which is the 5 whys. So as I said, right, these approaches actually help you identify the root cause of a problem. So sometimes it happens that you know what the problem is, but probably you do not know what exactly is the root cause of that particular problem. So for understanding the root cause of a problem, it is very important because then this particular understanding of the problem will also help you in building a better AI solution for that particular problem that you have identified. So therefore, this step is very critical. So the five whys approach actually, helps us question or use this particular question, which is why at every stage, which helps you ultimately come to the root cause. So this particular root cause that you have ultimately identified probably is not very obvious. So these are the kind of approaches that you can use, which can help you lead or come to this particular, root cause identification. So here in this particular image, you can see, there's a problem which is identified, which says unhappy customers. Now, what could be the reason of their unhappiness? So you're asking why are they unhappy? So probably the products were not delivered to them. Now, why were the products not delivered to them? Because there was wrong specifications on the product. Now, why there was wrong specification? Because of mismatch in expectations of what is actually offered by the product and what the customer is actually asking for. There is a mismatch in expectations. Then why did that, mismatch happen? It's because of poor level of transparency in company. And why is that? Because there was no internal structure to report and log client request. So basically this was the problem wherein, there is no proper structure in reporting and, logging client request. So this is actually the problem which needs to be solved. So what is the AI, solution that you can bring about for solving a problem like this? So you have actually reached to the root cause of a problem. So you know where do you actually, or for which problem do you actually need to build the solution for. This is one approach. The other approach is called the fishbone method. It is also called as the cause and effect diagram. So basically, why this is called as a cause and okay, first thing, why it is called as fishbone, because you can see that the structure looks like a fishbone thing. Here you have the bone structure, and here is the fish head. So fish head is nothing but the problem. So what are the causes which are leading to this particular problem? Right, so that is the reason why it's also called as cause and effect. So effect is actually the problem is arising because of all these causes which are leading to, this problem. So you will input all the causes here. So whatever is the problem for that particular problem, what are the causes, you are going to put all the causes here, and then you are going to identify, are there any, other sub causes, or identify all the causes and effects that leads to the problem. So again, this particular problem gives you like a structured approach to think, okay, what are the categories of problems, which are causes of problem, and then also subcategorize it where exactly the problem lies, and which problem or which cause is a more significant one. So you can probably, also focus on managing that particular cause to, negate or to stop leading to this particular problem. So this is also another technique that you can employ while deliberating on or discussing on, finalizing the problem. So before that, you need to also understand what is the root cause of the problem. So this particular technique or strategy can help you do that. And the last technique is again with respect to decomposition. So decomposition is a technique wherein you break your problem into several smaller sub problems and try to understand and solve those, like say for example, here a very simple example is given with respect to how a motorcycle works easier when each part is broken out and examined individually. So you can understand that, every problem is categorized into sub problems, and then you try to see where exactly the problem lies, and then you can start from there. So this is how the identifying a particular problem and identifying what exactly is the root cause for that problem, which will actually help you define your problem statement better, because that will actually lead to, or help you identify what kind of solution you need to bring about to solving that problem as well. So these are several strategies that you can use for identifying in your own business processes. As I said, in this particular module, we are also going to, discuss the AI project cycle. So AI project cycle is actually, the different stages involved in an AI project. So again, this is called as an AI project cycle, and you see that there is no cycle here, but it's not linear in nature. It's actually very much cyclical. But for a better, like for a easy representation, we have shown it this way, but it is not a linear approach. So there may be several times wherein you will have to maybe come back to a particular stage and again go back to modeling. And after modeling, after evaluation, you've understood that okay, you have to better the model. So probably you will come back here and change your model or change some model parameters and things like that to increase the performance of the model and other things. So as I said, these are the different stages involved in any AI project. So even if you read about it, maybe the names might differ, but the task involved will be same. And every task which is involved in an AI project is actually covered in these stages. So there is nothing which will be left out of it. So the first stage is the problem scoping stage, which actually helps you define the problem to be solved. So this is the stage that we actually focused on in module 1 and 2. So basically, because this is a very important and critical stage that, you are trying to finalize your problem statement. You are also trying to understand what solution can, your AI model solve. So you also need to scope your project. Your project cannot, or your AI solution cannot solve all the problems which are there. So it can solve only, the problems that you are specifically thinking to solve. So you need to scope your project well. You need to know that what kind of solution are you trying to build and what your AI project can do. So this particular stage becomes very important. This is where we are also doing the root cause analysis. We're also trying to see, use the four stage framework so that you better understand your problem. So this is the first stage, which is problem scoping, defining the problem to be solved. The second stage is wherein you are collecting data for building your AI project. So this is the data acquisition stage wherein you're trying to acquire data for building your AI project. And the third stage actually involves, analyzing your data. So basically, you're trying to get some insights from your data, trying to understand your data better, also with the help of visualization. So here in this particular stage, you can actually use some visualization tools which will give you some good business insights, also helping you understand the quality of data and things like that. Maybe if you at this particular stage you would maybe want to augment more data, or you may have to clean your data. You will also have to see if there are some missing values in the data and things like that. So all of that data handling and pre-processing will be a part of data exploration stage. So as it is said, right, your AI model is as good as the data that you feed the model with. So this is the stage wherein all the data pre-processing happens. Then you have the modeling stage wherein you are actually building the AI model. So you are going to apply different AI techniques, algorithms that we saw. Like if you remember the first slide that we saw, you will there was some ML techniques, which are machine learning techniques, regression, classification, clustering, or DL, which is deep learning techniques. Like there are different deep learning techniques that you can employ, neural network algorithms that you can use. So which algorithm are you going to apply to gather insights? So this is the stage wherein we take all decisions related to modeling, which algorithm to use, which algorithm will give you better performance and things like that. And then we come to evaluation stage. So this is the stage which helps you test your model with respect to performance and efficiency. And you can also choose which is the best fit model. So say, for example, if you in your modeling stage, you have employed two algorithms, you get the performance measures of both of these algorithms, and then you can choose, okay, this algorithm gives me better results, so therefore you can go ahead with that one. So it helps you choose the best fit, and finally in the deployment stage you are deploying your project. And you also need to choose the platform where you are deploying the project. So these are the 6 stages which actually accommodates each and every step involved in AI project. Yeah. So again, we are just continuing with the same scenario that we saw with Cheryl. So basically, if you remember, the scenario is related to a bank wherein, we are trying to identify why are the customers leaving and what can we do to make them stay. So looking back, Cheryl has identified and written her problem statement. She has collected some data. So she has that customer profile data with her. So she has the data. So that will actually be the data acquisition stage. Now she needs to decide her approach to her solution. Does she ask IT for help? So yeah, these are the kind of things that will come in the stages, if you map it with the AI project cycle stages, right? First is problem scoping, second is acquiring data or data acquisition. Then the third stage is data exploration. So if the data that she already has is good enough, then probably, or the data is clean and good enough, already structured, then she can use that data and go ahead to the next stage, which is modeling. Now in the modeling stage, she has to decide whether, she needs help from the IT team or she can do it herself. So there are different no-code tools that she can use and do it herself. So she's going ahead with a DIY approach, which is do-it-yourself approach. She'll investigate solving her problems using no-code tools and platforms. So she is going to explore the no-code tools part of it. So as I said, there are, in this particular program, we are trying to, we've built this program for non-tech audience. We've actually incorporated low code, no code tools, which will help make it easier for people to use these, platforms and build solutions or, insights for their business workflows and problems. So what is no code? No code is actually a graphical user interface. So these are application which has a user interface and very intuitive in nature. So you will have everything on a user interface. So today we are actually going to explore no code tool which will help you actually see and explore also how we actually can use no code tool for gaining some business insights and things like that. So as I said, these applications will have like a good user interface, and it will be mostly drag and drop in nature. So you just have to drag those icons into your canvas and use the ones that which is actually appropriate to the problem that you're trying to solve. And it is very easy to use, and it is usually very intuitive in nature. So even if you are not used to navigating through the content, if you are good with understanding at least one interface, you will be able to navigate through other platforms as well. So we, in this particular program, we have used Tableau, which is used for data visualization. It's a very well-known tool used by industry. So you can actually use that tool. We'll be using a public version for it, the free version of it. And you will see how easy it is to navigate through the tool. And once you know that, right, you can actually use it for any tool that you are actually going to use it in your own business setup or workflow. So we are not saying that you have to use the same tool. It will actually give you like a foundational knowledge of how to navigate through these kind of tools. So you can actually use it for any tool which you will be actually using it or deciding to use as a business decision. So yeah. Yeah, so these are some slides which actually gives you or helps you build a perspective before you decide why should you build an AI solution. So so if it is like IT's perspective, a mature digital business model creates never ending IT backlog. There are too many things for IT to handle all of them. Delays are inevitable. But now, if you build it yourself, what are the things, right? So business users can be empowered to build AI solution using no code. Now, since there is no overhead in terms of learning to write code or things like that, you can actually very simply use any no code tool for engaging and exploring whether this can actually be a solution or a possible solution for your the problem that you're trying to solve. Then you can actually very simply use a no code tool and try to see whether it will actually work for you or not. It also reduces the chances of time wastage due to relaying requirements to IT or external contractors. So the idea is, if there is a no code tool that you can work with, you can directly try to employ that using that particular model itself, and you don't have to actually relay between IT staff and ask whether it can be done, or basically it saves you that communication time. You can build your own perspective using that no code tool, and you can have like a good enough understanding of whether this can be like a good solution or not. So that becomes very easy using a no code tool. So here we are discussing various benefits of no code platform. I'll just skip this video for now. We'll just go through yeah, this particular module, which is because I
Sorry
also
to
want
interrupt,
to
Didi.
go. Yeah, sorry.
We are slightly above the 1 hour mark. Maybe we can take a 5 minute break in case people have
Sure.
questions or they want to just have tea, coffee, or go to the restroom.
Sure. So I think we can take a 5 minutes break and come back. I want to actually quickly also show the data visualization tool. We can probably see that with an example, quickly explore that so that you can actually go back and actually tinker around that tool a bit more. So yeah, let's take a 5 minutes break and come back. It's 1:45 for me, so we can come back in 5 minutes. Yeah. you.